Welcome once again to Satsang. I love you with all my heart. Have you any idea who you are? The most basic level. Not at the level of being Rolf the human or Chris the human or Ralph's blood brother or Eric or VJ, Mark. You know, I'm not really a teacher because all that I can do is tell you about my own experience. My experiences of awakening, my directions on how to find the energetic self, how to find emptiness, how to find joy and Shakti. But it isn't really about what I say. It's about how you receive my existence here and now. It's Satsang. I hear a lot of chirping on the line. It's probably just Zoom. But spirituality has always been for me trying to uncover who and what I am since I started off with the koan. Who am I? What am I? And followed that for many years. And then with Robert, had an awakening experience or two. Subsequently, I came out of the emptiness that it induced by falling in love and totally surrendering to another person, because in that surrender, I found myself as the divine. Now all that I have to do is rest in my own emptiness, and I feel myself as the ever unfolding life force, acting and perceiving with this within this body-mind incarnation. I feel myself as the life force, as constantly flowing outward with energy into the world and communicating with the world, talking about who I am as the life force. That visually I am light, bright white light, and energetically I'm like a constantly outpouring river of light and power. It's constantly like a waterfall flowing upwards in me of energy and light that directs how I speak and says, hear me. And when you hear me, you hear yourself talking to you. saying, wake up to who you are. Wake up to you, yourself as unlimited energy, unlimited power, unlimited sensitivity, unlimited intuition, flowing through your body like a mighty river, flows through a gully and enriches it and enlivens it and makes it wider. The life force wants to flow through you 100%, but it's hard to take. You have to open up to it over a period of years. And when it first grabs you, it grabs you with such utter ecstasy. You want to swoon, but at the same time, you don't want to even breathe because you fear that the breathing or the movement, that slight movement, will take you out of that ecstatic embrace of the life force. And you, it's like you're a separate person inside of that bundle with the life force. And both you and the life force cavort and play together. And then sometimes you become very serious because the life force demands it of you. Total concentration, total commitment to do some job, to say something. But most of the time, you just feel ecstatic. The heart energy open up completely 100%. And you're totally taken by the bliss. And the bliss is kind of a sign that the energies in you are flowing in the correct way now. Flowing towards ever deeper waters of energy. Truly, you begin to see your infinity. You're not limited to the body. Indeed, you are the life force. You are the life force that sees the world through trillions of pairs of eyes. And you expand inside to be able to receive that river of energy within, that light within. And you can't even move because the bliss is so strong. And how can you teach this? How can this be a teaching? You're all bliss. You're all infinite energy. You're infinite white light. You're not a human anymore. And yet, I discovered the life force within by loving another human. Surrendering Ed to that other human allowed me, as Ed, to see the life force within me and in that other human. Worshipping that other human, surrendering to that human. Now, one of my students, old students, wrote to me and said he read something from a blogs thing I wrote in 2011, 8 years ago. And he said, you were upset then, so you couldn't have been a mukti. A mukti is kind of phrase used by some Advaitins to describe someone who is totally free from any bindings into the world, like Ramana supposedly was, and Nisargadatta supposedly was, and Lakshmana supposedly is, and Sarada supposedly is. But I wrote back, that's not my path. My path is God realization through loving another and watching that love for the other inside of yourself, and thereby seeing yourself as a first person. From the first person point of view, you see yourself as the energy, as God, which is another first person point of view. But when witnessed from Ed, it seems like a second person. And when God witnesses Ed, it seems like a second person to him. But when the energy runs through you, there's no room for two. There's just one. God and Ed are one. When God was first revealed to me, it was as another, as a vast power and light and love that I watched explode inside of me and come out of me and spread outward into the world. And for a long time, I played with God within me, and we were a couple, like an elder brother and a younger brother. But after a while, we became one. Sometimes we're two, sometimes we're one, sometimes we're not there at all. What I invite you to do is to try to feel the Shakti around me. Because Shakti is the messenger of the life force. Shakti is the messenger, the voice of God. When you start feeling Shakti, you are closing in that stage of realizing God. Many, 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 many people feel Shakti and they become healers or mystics using Shakti as a power, but not knowing that it's really them and it's leading them to find themselves. And instead they get distracted and use Shakti to do things in the world or in their own life. But Shakti is God talking to you. Shakti is showing you the way to God. Yourself is God. It's all one thing. God and you are one. But it's hard to realize that at first. It's easier to realize God in another being as the spirit in that being that you fall down and worship to. You fall to your knees and then on your face and you prostrate yourself to that person. Surrender to that person, just hoping that person steps on you and you can feel their blessed feet crushing you into the ground, using you to stand on. And if they stand on you and you can feel their weight on your chest, on your back, you feel such divine ecstasy to be able to support God. But beware of those who talk about non-dual philosophy, about muktis, the totally free ones. Because muktis are empty. They have no life. They've blown out and have obtained nirvana, which is a deep peace, but unmoved by anything in the world. Therefore, they're useless to the world. When you become God intoxicated, you're useful to everybody. Everybody benefits from feeling your intoxication with God. You can dance freely and yell his name loudly, and people will be taken and they'll clap along with you. Or you can be relatively silent, like I am now, and just talk about being immersed in God, how heavenly it feels, how angelic the energy is. It's so fine and refined. It's so bright, the white light. And the power you feel is like the ecstasy of a highest trance possible, of feeling God caressing you in your heart. And then you can feel your heart grow and expand and embrace all of mankind. Now, the only way that this is going to work for you is if you're feeling those energies now. If you're feeling the beginnings of the embrace of God in you, if you feel your life force inside of you stirring, coming alive because of the Shakti calling you out and saying, feel me, feel God within ye. Can you feel God within? Do you feel God within? Rolf, do you feel God within? Rosemary, do you feel God within? So, join with me together. Feel into our hearts. Feel the light and the bliss there in our hearts. Feel the rising energy from our legs and butt and sexual organs rising through the center of our being till it hits our brain, transforms us, and then turns downward again to repeat the trip. Just sit quietly now. Feel God's breath in you. Feel God's love in you. Feel God's golden grace rain down on you as golden light, purifying you, curing all of your sins, taking away all your foolishness, taking away all those things that you feel disgusted about yourself. Take it all away and just feel the angelic energy, the white energy, the energy of the life force. So when anyone asks you who you are, you say, I am life. I am life. Nothing but life.